What would you do if the law you trusted turned against you? In the heart of a city pulsing with unrest, Aisha Thompson walked home under a sky bruised purple by dusk. Her steps were quick, her breath steady, but her heart raced not from fear, but from the weight of eyes that followed her. A black woman in a neighborhood where police patrolled like hunters, she'd learned to move with purpose. Her only companion was Titan, her German shepherd, trained from his days with her late brother, a Marine who'd taught the dog to protect, to sense danger before it struck. Aisha's life wasn't easy. A nurse working double shifts, she poured her soul into saving lives, yet the world often repaid her with suspicion. Tonight, as she cut through an alley to avoid the main streets, her scrubs still wrinkled from a 12-hour shift, she heard the screech of tires. A police cruiser blocked the alley's mouth. Two officers stepped out, their faces hard, their hands twitching near holsters. "Stop right there," one barked, his voice laced with contempt. "What's a girl like you doing out here?" Aisha froze, her hand tightening on Titan's leash. The dog's ears perked, his body tensing like a coiled spring. She knew this script racial profiling dressed up as law enforcement. "I'm just going home," she said, voice calm but firm. "I'm a nurse. I haven't done anything." The officers smirked, stepping closer, their shadows swallowing the fading light. "We'll see about that," the second one said, reaching for her arm. Her heart pounded, but Aisha stood tall. She'd faced this before, men in uniforms who saw her skin before her humanity. But tonight felt different, heavier. The air crackled with menace. Titan growled low, a sound that vibrated through the alley. "Control that dog," the first officer snapped, drawing his baton. Aisha's grip on the leash loosened slightly, her brother's words echoing in her mind. "Titan knows who you are. Trust him." The officers closed in, their questions turning to accusations. "What's in your bag? You selling something?" They didn't wait for answers, their hands reaching, their voices rising. Aisha's pulse thundered, but she refused to cower. "I'm not your suspect," she said, her voice shaking with defiance. The second officer grabbed her wrist, twisting it. Pain shot through her arm, and she stumbled back against the alley wall. That's when the twist came, not from Aisha, but from the shadows. A teenage boy, no older than 16, emerged from behind a dumpster, his phone raised, recording. "Yo, let her go," he shouted, his voice cracking but bold. His name was Jamal, a kid from the neighborhood who'd seen too much to stay silent. His presence shifted the air, a spark of hope in the suffocating tension. The officers froze, caught in the glow of his phone's light, their aggression momentarily checked. But it wasn't enough. The first officer turned back to Aisha, his baton raised. "You think a kid's gonna save you?" he sneered. Aisha's eyes locked on Titan, whose growl had turned into a snarl. She whispered one word: "Protect." In seconds, Titan was airborne, a blur of fur and muscle. He slammed into the officer, knocking him to the ground, teeth bared inches from his face. The second officer stumbled back, fumbling for his gun, but Titan's glare pinned him in place. Aisha's voice cut through the chaos. "Titan, hold." The alley fell silent, save for the officer's ragged breathing and Jamal's phone still recording. Aisha stepped forward, her voice steady now. "You don't get to do this. Not to me. Not to anyone." She pulled her phone from her pocket, dialing 911, her hands trembling but resolute. "I'm reporting an assault," she said, her eyes never leaving the officers. Jamal's footage would be her shield, Titan her sword. Minutes later, more sirens wailed. Backup arrived, but this time, the officers weren't allies of the two on the ground. A female sergeant, her face etched with exhaustion, stepped out. She listened to Aisha, watched Jamal's video, and ordered the officers cuffed. "This ends now," she said, her voice heavy with disgust. Aisha exhaled, her knees weak, as Titan pressed against her leg, his warmth grounding her. As the officers were led away, Aisha knelt beside Titan, stroking his fur. "Good boy," she whispered, tears stinging her eyes. Jamal approached, his phone now lowered. "I got you," he said, a shy smile breaking through. Aisha nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. In that alley, amidst fear and betrayal, she'd found not just survival, but solidarity. The city would talk about that night, about a black woman who stood her ground, a dog who fought for her, and a kid who dared to shine a light. Aisha knew the fight wasn't over. The system was broken, its roots deep with prejudice. But as she walked home, Titan at her side and Jamal's number saved in her phone, she felt something new. Hope. Not the fragile kind, but the kind forged in fire, in the courage of those who refuse to be silenced. Yindi.